Hello students, this is Professor Faiz Raut from Jain College of Engineering, Department of MBA. I'm in module 5th, last lecture. In this lecture, I'm going to discuss regarding private sector enterprises and privatization, and what are the advantages of private sector and what are the disadvantages of private sector, and how disinvestment happened in India over a period of time, starting from 1991. Well, in this lecture, before this lecture, you all know regarding the privatization, socialization, and liberalization of Indian economy, which happened in 1991, which was a major decision taken for the industrial development of India. And many difficulties were there for India during that time. So, in order to remove those difficulties and boost up the Indian economy, this decision was crucial. And when this decision took place, it was a boost for the private sector enterprises, and many domestic private sector enterprises, many private companies operating in India were very happy with this decision, because even the import duties were reduced, export duties were reduced, and even some taxes on these private enterprises were reduced. So they were very happy. But when the economy got opened up, many foreign companies also started coming in the form of FDI and FIIs. So when FDI was pouring into India, the foreign companies, which goods they were offering to Indian customers, were very of a good quality and of very attractive nature, which the domestic players, the domestic companies, found it very difficult to compete with them. One example is good, like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Okay, Coke and Pepsi are the foreign players which entered into the market when Parle was a leader in the cold beverages. So there were many cold drinks of Parle, like Citra, Gold Spot, and Mangola, and many other cold drinks were available for the Indian customers. But when Coca-Cola and Pepsi entered into India, they found that Parle is the only major competitor, and they started eliminating their competition by various means. They were offering cold drinks at a lesser price. They were influencing the employees, or the head employees of the Parle. They were influencing them, and they were offering them better job opportunities in Coca-Cola and Pepsi with a higher package and many other benefits. So these employees started leaving Parle, and they were giving some marketing insights about the Indian market, about the Indian customers. So the domestic players faced very great deal of difficulty. Even Malhotra's was a market leader. Almost 95% of shaving blades were being sold by the Malhotra's. But when Gillette came into the market, Malhotra's was totally wiped out, and eventually Gillette bought the entire Malhotra's company. So this was a major challenge by the domestic players which they faced. And finally, you don't find Parle's cold drinks like Citra and Gold Spot, Mangola these days. You find the replacement of those, for example, Fanta and 7-Up, Sprite, and all those cold drinks you find of Coca-Cola or Pepsi. And Parle is left with only one drink, which is Bisleri. Okay, they have a mineral water brand called as Bisleri, and Parle is no longer into cold drink business. So this was the situation when the economy got opened up. Well, private sector, if we compare now 1991 to 2020, so it is somewhere around 29 to 30 years. And if we compare public sector and private sector has emerged as the dominant player. So if we go with the growth of private sector, well, it is the dominant sector of Indian economy. There are many companies which are the leader in those industries, in those sectors where private companies are there. Just for example, telecom industry, BSNL was the leader at once upon a time, but now BSNL is into huge losses. It cannot run properly. Air India was a leader, a Maharatna in 2001, but now it is very difficult for Air India to operate and get out of the losses. So private sector is a dominant sector in Indian economy, and it is important for development, as many of the employment opportunities are being given by the private enterprises, and many A good foreign exchange has been also been earned by the private sector. Many things are being exported from India, which is being manufactured in the private sector companies. Many commodities, many new techniques of production are being there. The technological improvement, faster technological improvement happens in the private sector as compared to the public sector. So it is important for the development. And private sector is also extensive modern industrial sector. Okay, many air parts are made. Many ancillary units are there. Automobiles, ancillary units, all those things. There is a great deal of improvement. Otherwise, we would have just, used ambassador cars and even scooters from Bajaj and bikes from Bajaj itself, if this 1991 would have not happened. Okay, and then also last one is potentialities due to personal incentive and small sector. And the private sector has a good potential to grow, and there are many small sectors also. Okay, I'm not talking about big industries. A small factories or small industries which have been started, which are quite easy to get permission and get started as compared to before, prior 1991. So it employs the region, a small maybe a small scale industry which is there in a region. It employs the people who are nearby. So employment opportunity is not a and this employment is being taken care by the private sector, which is public sector finds it difficult. So when you apply for a public sector job, you the exams, if you are applying, you get lakhs of applications, and from that only few hundreds of people get selected. So it is a tedious process, a long process, a lengthy process, and many loopholes are there in those process, in many of the processes. So a person prefers private sector in many of the regions. So it has a potential for a good growth. Okay, but still there are a few problems of private sector. For example, profit. First one is profit generation is the main motive. Okay, private sector generally as a profit maximization, which we learned in economics. It is the company which is only focusing on profit. So sometimes what happens, private sector don't care about the employee security or employees welfare. Sometimes it happens, and the laborers are the ones who suffer more. For example, in maybe if 10 or 15 days back, there was a law, labor law, which was being relaxed for the few companies, and wherein laborers which used to work for 10 hours, they used to get certain amount of pay. Now laborers should work for 12 hours to get that same amount of pay, and there are different pay scales have been changed. And that means for same kind of work they'll be paid differently, whether that company only can decide. So there were few restrictions on the companies in terms of labor, because they only focus more on profit. Okay, second is focus on consumer durable sectors, and many of the sectors in which the private sector are mostly interested in going is of consumer durables, because they are more profit generating and more visibility is there in the customers in the market when they are manufacturing consumer durables. So you find many private sector enterprises in mobile phones, in laptops, in washing machine, in refrigerators, in television sets, and in cars. So they are their focus is more on consumer durables, whereas for companies like energy and power and coal and all those things, private sector are not much interested, because they also need a good amount of capital to start that business, and it doesn't get too much profit very soon. The turnover, what do you say, the break even point is very long. It takes a few years to reach break even point in these sectors. Okay, and then next is monopoly and concentration. There are few sectors in which monopoly is there. Okay, so it is very difficult for the private sector enterprises to enter. For example, railways is one of the example, and power distribution is one of the example, post and telegraph is one of the example in which private sector cannot enter. These what do you say, these sectors are not that much developed. Okay, there is not much competition in these areas where private sector have not entered. So and the next one, fourth one, is declining share of net value added in total output. Well, what is net value added? Net value added is defined as the annual amount generated over and above the cost of raw materials which go in the production system after allowing for depreciation changes. Okay, so when we are generating something, say we are the amount which is being generated above the cost of raw materials. If we are buying raw materials at a rate of 50 rupees and we are selling that product which has been manufactured by raw materials of 50 rupees and manufacturing cost of 10 rupees, that means we will be getting 40 rupees as the profit. And if we remove depreciation for per unit, maybe 10 rupees more, so we'll be getting 30 rupees as the profit. So 30 rupees is the value added of output. So that has been declining of private sector because there is a huge competition and there is price wars. The red ocean has been created, so their profit margin has been reducing. So net value added is been reducing, which is affecting even GDP of the country. Next is infrastructure bottlenecks. Bottlenecks is what when there are different stages of the different stages is involved into a manufacturing of a product or giving a service. Then in one of these stages there is the process is very slow, so that the process which has been done by the previous the activities which is done by the previous process is completed, and it is waiting in order to get the in order to get its chance in this process, and the next process is waiting for the previous process to get completed. Okay, for example, and there are three processes, 1, 2 and 3. First process is very fast, they complete the task and give it to process 2. Okay, even process 3 is very fast, they complete the process and make the output and send it. So process 3 is waiting for process 2 to complete the work and give it to them, and process 2 is very slow. So everything is getting piled up at process 2, and process 3 is sitting ideal because it is not getting the products from process 2. So process 2 is creating a bottleneck. Okay, one more example: when you are driving, okay, suppose there are 4 lanes and 4 cars are moving together, and suddenly these 4 lanes converge into 1 lane. So all these 4 cars which are driving side by side now need to squeeze it into 1 lane. So there will be a traffic on that portion where the 4 lanes are getting converged into 1 lane. So that is creating a bottleneck. And after that, again 1 lane for a certain kilometers, again that 1 lane is getting into 4 lanes. So there will be a huge traffic in those 1 lanes and very less traffic in these 4 lanes. Okay, so I hope you get this. Then next is contribution to trade deficit. Okay, now as private sector are importing many things from outside, many technological instruments, many huge machineries they are importing. So because of those higher imports, massive imports, there is a huge outflow of foreign currency from India, and there is a huge demand of dollars and pounds or the different currencies which they are using for from the specific countries. So there is a huge demand of foreign currency, and because of that there is a trade deficit. The more of imports are there and very less of exports are there, and there is flow of foreign currency and less demand for Indian currency. Okay, next is industrial sickness. And many small private companies get into losses, and because of that there is the industry becomes sick. They are not able to manufacture much, they are not able to repay their loans, and many difficulties they will be facing. And threat from foreign competition, which I've already told you, when the foreign competitors came, it was very difficult for the domestic private players to work in the market. Okay, next is about privatization. Okay, privatization in India was given boost in 1991 itself, when the financial crisis was there, and privatization is also includes a disinvestment from the public sector. That means there are few public sector enterprises which had limited to some sectors, like for example banking and insurance and telecom, power, and even airlines, civil aviation sector were all under government control, and this was privatized and given to the private companies. So by this we got many companies when this telecom was opened up. We got BPL Mobile coming into the market. We got Hutch Mobile, Hutch or Orange when it launched. So Orange was the telecom provider which came into the market. So Orange became Hutch, Hutch became Vodafone now, and Vodafone now became Vodafone Idea, and BPL became Loop, and Loop became something else, and it went out of the market. It sold its shares to Reliance, I guess. And then in civil aviation, Jet Airways was one of the airways which came into the market when the privatization was started. So many companies came with this privatization, and there is it is very advantageous, because the state-owned enterprises usually are not well efficient, and they are outdone by these private enterprises comparatively. Okay, and when compared with the what do you say, the public companies, private companies provide better results in terms of revenue and in terms of efficiency, in terms of productivity. And also privatization brings a structural change, and it provides the momentum for the success of the economy. And macroeconomic advantages include the privatization has a positive impact on the financial health of the sector. Okay, the entire sector gets boost up when many private enterprises enter into that. See, when Jet Airways entered into this airlines industry, many private players entered into this airlines industry, and airline became very not a very high cost travel, but it reduced the cost, started reducing, and many people started using airlines. Initially, when Air India was there in the year 1988 or 2000, it was felt it was a great achievement for a few of the Indians when they have traveled through air. Okay, and domestic flights were very rare. Domestic travels through air were very rare to be heard of. Okay, when privatization entered, when Deccan Airways and very low cost airlines came into the market, the air travel became sufficiently cheaper. Okay, but apart from those advantages, there are a few disadvantages of this. Like, private sector focuses more on profit maximization. Okay, so that is the problem. They don't much concentrate upon the social issues, and there is a lack of transparency in private sector, and the stakeholders don't get the complete information in spite of the many regulations of SEBI and RBI and many other Ministry of Corporate Affairs and many other policies of the government. Still there is a lack of transparency in private sector. And private sector has also supported the corruption and the illegitimate ways of accomplishment of licensing and many business deals. And amongst the government, the private bidders, lobbying and bribery are more common issues, tarnishing the practical applicability of privatization. For example, in 2G scam, which we called, there was a lobbying, and private bidders were given some benefits, as compared to the other private bidders, so that they'll get the bid, and they'll get the spectrum. This is a technical term. They'll get the area of serving the customers when they set up the tower. So most of the spectrum went to these private bidders, and they offered the government a little less price to buy that spectrum as compared to others. And when the others came to buy the spectrum was already sold out. Okay, so there was a less profit for the government in that case. So this is the issue which is going on still. No any solid proof is not there, so it is still lying in the courts. So anyways, lobbying and bribery is common with the private and in the private enterprises. Okay, and next I come to the small scale industry in Indian economy. Okay, I guess I've taken a lot of time. I'll do this in next lecture. Okay, thanks for listening.